What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines, and who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Sandwich, where we're not a total ripoff,
Not
only partial.
only partial. And before we get into any of today's stories, we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that are liking these videos, subscribing to Game Sandwich, and if you're new here, do all that, and join our community Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. Now, we are back. I didn't think it would take this short of the amount of time, but we're back to talk about Pokemon v Pal World, because now a U.S. Patent Office director is ordering the re-examination of Nintendo's patent on summoning characters and making them battle. Again, I want to stress the point, this is happening here in the United States. And as reported by GamesFray, U.S. PTO Director John A. Squires has personally ordered a re-examination of the patent, citing previous patents which might make it invalid. So he's specifically focusing on the patent that claims having to summon two sub-characters to fight alongside you with the option to make them fight either automatically or via manual control. I assume this is more of the Pokemon Legends, like, that game and like how that battling is done.
That sounds more like the aspect of like Legends Arceus or what was
Yeah.
it in Scarlet and Violet, where you have the auto battle, where like
Yeah.
your Pokemon like walks around with you and then it just auto battles things.
Yeah, more of the Wild Zone games versus the classic turn-based, like, you just go in the grass and you find a Pokemon. Uh, in his order, Squire said he, quote, determined that a new substantial questions of patentability have arisen, and this is based on two previous patents, named as Yabe and Taura. I love doing the pronunciations there. The Yabe patent, which granted in 2002 to Konami and refers to a sub-character fighting alongside the player either automatically, like you were saying, or manually. The Taura patent, which was granted in 2020 to Nintendo itself, refers to a sub-character who battles alongside the player. So, it's interesting there. We have two separate patent grants, one in 2002, one in 2020, where Konami has one and Nintendo has one. And again, it's the wording of here, sub-character fighting alongside the player either automatically or manually for the 2002 one, and then the 2021 that Nintendo has refers to a sub-character who battles alongside the player. No mention of automatically or manually. So, is this what we expected? You know, is it?
I mean, after the whole the Japan thing, I was gonna say Japanese, but after the whole thing with Japan and their patent office denying Nintendo, honestly, I was kind of expecting the U.S. patent office to like maybe do a reevaluation. I wasn't expecting it so soon, but I'm happy that it's so soon. And I think honestly, if you're going to reevaluate this one, it's probably only a matter of time before they start reevaluating like every single one of the patents that they gave Nintendo. And I mean, really, in Japan, it was they denied the patent because it didn't have enough creativity about it. Like, it wasn't like it was too broad or whatever. It wasn't very specific enough. And so, like, I think that the same thing could happen here in the US. They could re-examine the patents and then deny them because they're too broad, because that's what every single one of the patents is. It's just very, very broad here. You got, oh, a mechanic of fighting alongside somebody. And it even says Konami was the one who originally did the patent here. And so, okay, well, Nintendo, you get your comeuppance a little bit because Konami did it first.
Hmm?
So suck it. But also, that makes me a little annoyed at Konami that they even have that, because I don't think game mechanics should really be patented. At least not broad ones like that.
Yeah, like, what game does... I know there's going to be a game that someone says, like, Konami obviously did this game, so that... But I can't remember. But I'm going to actually expand on what you were saying, because this next bit of text, and I'm pulling from the Video Games Chronicle, shout out to them, that highlights what you're saying. Squire says that the patent examiner's reasoning for allowing Nintendo's 2025 patent, quote, cites the failure of prior art of record, meaning that there was no previous related patent. Quote, to each player, a player can be allowed to perform two types of battles. That is, a battle by the first mode, in which the player performs an operation input, and a battle by the simpler second mode. However, because, quote, each of Yabe and Tuora teaches a player being allowed to perform a battle in a manual mode and in a simpler, automatic mode, a regional examiner would consider each of Yabe and Tuora to be an important part in deciding whether that the claims are patentable. And I'm assuming these new claims that Nintendo's throwing out, and each raises a substantial new question of patentability. So it's exactly what we've been saying right along, where it's like, this isn't like them reinventing the wheel. Our video earlier this week discussed that point of like, there wasn't enough substantial evidence there to say that they are doing something transformative to warrant them doing all of this. So I think this just backs it up even more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this definitely does, at least to me, like you said, like it backs up the whole they don't have a substantial enough idea here to be patented. Like it bothers me, like I said, like I've been saying, because it's way too broad. If it
Yes.
was something more than just like, oh, this thing fights alongside you. Okay, how many games do you have people fighting alongside you automatically or manually? Like Final Fantasy games have that. Kingdom Hearts has that. Like hello, you play Kingdom Hearts, you're fighting alongside Sora and like not Sora, blah, Donald and Goofy. Okay, they automatically fight. Does that not break the patent here?
Ooh, Disney versus
Like
Nintendo.
Final Fantasy, you have similar stuff. There are also like games like Ark, for instance, that has technically, dinosaurs fighting alongside you. That breaks this patent as well. There are so many games out there that this could apply to because it's a broad mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have, again, no problem with Nintendo patenting like the design of a Pokeball and saying capturing a monster in this ball specifically, this style of ball or whatever, and patent a wide range of like Pokeball designs. Like I'd
Yeah.
have no problem with that. It's the fact that they just go, oh, capture a monster in general. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you're not the first ones to do a monster capture thing. You really aren't. You also aren't going to be the last ones. So like that's way too broad of a thing for you to just say, "Hey, we own the monster catching space."
And again, this story I feel like is one that we're going to be talking about for X amount of years to come, more specifically within the next few years, because if you remember correctly, the people that Nintendo is going after being Pocket Pair announced Pal Farm, which is essentially this life farm sim type deal that's within Pal World. And then you also factor in the Nintendo of it all, where they have Animal Crossing. But then you factor in the second almost interconnective thing here, where Pokemon, I forgot the title of it, but it's the one where you're the Ditto girl, and
Pokotopia or whatever.
Poketopia, something like that. They're doing an Animal Crossing type esque game where it's like, is this gonna be the next conversation we have within a few months' time? Where it's like, oh, like we're getting the Switch 2 version of Animal Crossing New Horizon that is suddenly back in the limelight here for a lot of gamers, and then Pal Farm comes along. What are we gonna do then?
Okay, you know what? New Nintendo theory time here. I've already said it before that like I've said it specifically before that like okay, what if their reason why they're going after Pow World is simply because oh, the Gen 10 leaks, and like in Gen 10 they were planning to do a game similar to Pow World, but Pow World did it first, and so now they're salty about it or whatever. Now theory time here. What if like similar things happening, like they created Animal Crossing, they specifically stated a long time ago that they were not going to do any more updates for Animal Crossing New Horizons, but now they are doing an update for it, update 3.0 or whatever, and they're making a Switch 2 version. What if they're doing this just so that they can just be like, hey, look, New Horizons is new or whatever, we want to compete with Pal Farm, and well, as soon as Pal Farm gets, released or whatever, then Nintendo just goes, okay, now we're going to sue Pal Farm, and then they're going to do the same thing again by patenting stuff in Animal Crossing.
You know, as crazy as I want to call you, given everything we've covered around this story and everything we're gonna talk about in the future, it doesn't sound too far-fetched, no pun intended. But it's that thing of what I talked about earlier this week with the whole nemesis system and all of that. Once we start doing these things, and like, let's just say Nintendo wins this round, they get what they want out of the patents and all that. That is when I do think the next conversation of what you're talking about with Animal Crossing and this and that, that becomes the next thing. It's like now, like that meme of the Grim Reaper going to each of the doors and like slaughtering the people and leaving. That is where I start to worry about, okay, they had their fun here and they got what they wanted. Now they're going to move on because clearly what they did earlier worked. And now they're like, okay, we can do this too and kind of square off the market. This is a thing that I think is so bad within the sports world, where EA has the license to FIFA, like soccer. Madden has been a repetitive, redundant formula for years on end, and they're getting away with it because they have the license and they have the chokehold on that market. So it's like you're lacking like innovation, and the only reason why you're lacking it is because there's no competition. Because no one else can be like, I'm gonna make NFL, let's just, I know it's the same thing, but like NFL Street, like a brand new one from like, I don't know, From Software. I don't know why I said From Software first, but you get what I'm saying. Like a new person just does it. They can't. Like no one can do that, so they don't have to sit there and go, man, we really gotta try this time around.
Yeah, they don't have competition. That's why like Nintendo just annoys me. And you know what? You can defend it all you want right here, because I know that there's going to be people in the comments, and I know that you probably want to defend Pokemon Legends ZA, but this is the reason why we've gotten to this point with Pokemon Legends ZA being a complete and total scam of a game, because that has no innovation really except for the battle system, and even the battle system's kind of lackluster and can just be like blown through just by like
Brute force.
spamming moves
Yeah.
over and over again. And you have no innovative design with like the look of anything. You have like basically what amounts to JPEGs on buildings and everything. It looks terrible. I'm not saying that I hate it completely. I somewhat enjoy it, but still, that's how you end up with this. Is
Yes.
because you have no competition, so the original creator gets lazy and they go, oh, okay. And then as soon as competition comes around, they go, oh, we need to defend ourselves to the end of the earth. So we're going to patent this stuff that's like completely pointless to patent and completely can like ruin other games in the process, all because we're salty that someone did it better than us
Mm-hmm.
and we want to be able to corner the market. Like people, do you really want Nintendo being the only monster capture like game creator out there? Do you
Yeah.
really want the Pokemon Company to be the only ones? That's like saying you only want Walmart to exist. You don't want Target. You don't want Costco. You don't want anything else. You just want Walmart because you want them to corner the market on like the supermarket store. No,
I,
you want competition.
I'm very much in agreement with you as far as like the only reason why we're in the state we are in with Pokemon and why it's been so slow and why like compared to the days of like Gold and Silver to Ruby and Sapphire to Diamond and Platinum or whatever, Diamond and Pearl. Back then Nintendo still had and the Pokemon Company had a lot to prove with what Pokemon could be. Now they're in their older stage of life where they're like, obviously this is where people are going to go for this product. So like even if like with Call of Duty the same thing there. Even if we decide to chill out this year and kind of half-ass a product and ship it out, it's okay because it's going to sell. We literally made a video yesterday talking about how Call of Duty is doing that right now. And it's like that is the world we live in. But also, too, this battle between Pocket Pair and Pokemon will be very telling for the future of I'm not gonna say Pal World because they can just do whatever they want, but Pokemon, because like this time around with Legends EA, I am in full agreement with you. There's a lot more they could have done with that game. It sucks to see, as a longtime Pokemon fan. I am still a fan of that game. It's been fun, but I also understand there's a lot more that could have and honestly should have been done by now. I also understand with Generation 10, if they don't try and if they don't like do something to push that medium somewhere, like the Pokemon games somewhere, this is where you lose. Like, this is where, like, we talked about what's the thing that Call of Duty can do to lose its top status, and we said something cataclysmic, something that can go wrong. With Pokemon, they are coming up on that time now where it's like, if Gen 10 comes out and there isn't some modicum of like voice acting, if there isn't an upgrade with visuals, if there isn't, like, if there's any of those things that are absent, they're screwed. Like, that is it. Like, because now you've seen the conversation bubble up with ZA, and they're like, well, you're on the Switch too. You have no excuse now. We seen, what's that game from Game Freak that they showed off where we were watching, was it Summer Games Fest, where like it's this, it looks like a Dark Souls game. I don't know. But we were like, Game Freak made that? Game Freak made a game like that, and we're getting this for Pokemon? Like, it's just something that, again, I've been saying this right along. Generation 10 will be the benchmark for if Nintendo and if the Pokemon Company cares about their fans. And you'll hear it loud and clear when that trailer drops.
It was Beast of Reincarnation, by the way. I found it.
Thank you.
But either way, you know what? Just to cap it, and like we can talk about more of this later if you guys would be interested in it. But like,
Yeah.
it also came to our attention as well that there is a developer. I guess I don't know if it's Red Deer Games. I'm pretty sure it's just Red Deer Games.
It's on their YouTube. Yeah.
But like that, because that's their YouTube. But it's called Doki Monsters Quest. Keep in mind, this is a Nintendo Switch game.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind, people, before Kevin says something.
Yes.
Keep this in mind. So it has gone through the whole Nintendo like verification process thing to be on the Switch store. Thank you.
Do they have any regulation there?
There's a lot of people who say that game looks like, okay, like Nintendo should sue them because it's old school Pokemon or whatever. They're ripping it off. No, they shouldn't. If anything, this game shows that old school Pokemon is going to be better. It's going to be great. And they can't sue them over this because, like, genuinely, this looks like a great game. And, like, Nintendo doesn't have a patent on art style yet, at least, because they're going to be like, oh, we own the anime art style or some shit. But, and then, you know, they're going to be in a legal battle with a lot of animes.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, the monsters don't look anything like Pokemon. They literally don't. The one that I see looks like a blob thing. One looks like a generic bird, you know? The only thing that I say looks somewhat similar to anything that's in Pokemon, like the old Pokemon games, is just two of the protagonists. The red protagonist, like the red male protagonist, and the blue male protagonist. They both kind of look like the protagonists that you have in like in the early Pokemon games, like Red and Blue, and maybe that's why they look similar, because Red and Blue. I just thought about that. But so that might be like a nice little callback or something to Pokemon. But anyway, they look like the protagonists from Red and Blue, or like from Ruby and not Ruby and Sapphire, blah, from Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
So like, there you go. That's the only thing that I can say about it.
I will 100% give you credit where credit is due. I agree that they don't have the patent on art style, which is the thing that I think is keeping me, like, in that vessel of, like, why haven't they gone after them? I'm looking at various parts, and I'm going to have the trailer playing beside us, so you can make your decision there. But it's just boiling down to, if Pokemon could go after a company like Pocket Pair for Pal World that doesn't arguably look remotely the same to the game and claim that they're doing the same thing, what the hell is happening here? Because, like, I'm looking at the battle thing, down to the life bar, the HP thing. Like, yeah, like, what what are we doing there? And again, I want to say Doki Monsters Quest, I might pick that up because it looks like a good time and it looks like that old
Yeah.
nostalgia trip of like old Pokemon. Like even the map looks like something out of like Ruby
Yeah.
and Sapphire.
Yeah, you can't say the map either though, because there's multiple old games that are handheld games that have a map like that.
Yes, like Mario. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's more of
Well,
just
I'm not even talking about Nintendo. Like,
oh yeah.
Final Fantasy, I believe, had a map like that at one point too.
It's just like this. If I had like if you told me non-gamer and you were like, all right, tell me what company a Nintendo sued out of this freeze frame versus this one, I would look at Doki Monsters and think they're absolutely cooked. And then you look at Pal World and I'm like, oh, I kind of see something there, but like nothing as strikingly similar. And again, you brought up the point which I also think is very valid to bring up. This like you start the trailer and it starts with the Nintendo Switch like graphic, whatever
Yeah,
they want to call it. And it's like you made it through the eShop approval system. Granted, there's a lot of eShop slop on that thing, so I want to point that out as well, where you get a lot of things that you just don't you don't understand how they got there. But
yeah.
for Doki Monsters, I'm in the agreement they should have. I feel like this is a layup for Nintendo lawyers that I'm just surprised they haven't done it.
No, I mean compare this to that game that is a very blatant and clear ripoff of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
Compare
Pillars
it
of
to that.
Eternity, or is that Pillars
Yeah,
of Eternity?
exactly.
Is it that? Oh yeah, one of them.
Compare it to that, where where like the enemies have a very, very obvious same design, where the main protagonist is obviously a ripoff of the main protagonist of Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, think of it like that.
Yeah.
You look at that and then look at this. This is just an old school RPG style. That is it.
Ugh, I
It
don't
is old school
know.
RPG style. Like those trees, I've seen them on RPG Maker, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah.
Like those bushes, I've seen them there. Maybe the grass is the only thing that looks like similar to what would actually be in a Pokemon game. Maybe the grass, maybe the map, you know. I might be misremembering the map thing for like Final Fantasy or something, like
Still,
because it's been like a long time since I played like the old ones. But like I swear that there's like games that have like a map like that. Maybe Golden Sun or something like that has one. I don't know. But like maybe the map, maybe the protagonist designs for like for two of them,
the
but there's six of
sprites.
them in total.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just amazed that a game like this could come out that is so arguably close to Pokemon, like Red and Blue, like that stuff, and this goes under the radar. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna see a story. Watch, I just jinxed it later today. Pokemon Company sues Doki Monsters Quest, whatever. Like, again, I think a lot of that argument too of why that hasn't happened is scale and like, let's just say Pal World didn't find the success up front and didn't like get the millions upon millions of copies within the first 2 weeks. I don't think we're having this conversation. And I think that's what it boils down to, what you brought up earlier, as far as like, oh, someone came along and did it better. I just think that's why we're not talking about Doki Monsters, at least just yet.
Yeah, I mean, probably that might be a reason why. I mean, who knows? Maybe this one releases and then it's millions upon millions of sales like Power World did, and then all of a sudden Nintendo's going after them even though they allowed it to be on the eShop to begin with.
That's
I
what's
don't know.
wild. It's so
That could be
wild.
that could very well happen. I don't think they should. I mean, I think if they do go after this one, they should just be like, "Oh, change the design of like those two protagonists
Yeah.
and like maybe change the look of your map." That's it.
Yeah.
But like everything else, you can't say like anything else in that entire trailer looks like Pokemon.
We're
Like the monsters don't look like it.
We're gonna have it playing beside us. Viewer, if you're watching this, drop a comment down below if you made it this far, especially. What do you think of Doki Monsters Quest? Because honestly, I'd buy it. And normally I don't buy like the lower end eShop like games. Like this would never be on my radar. But this is This is an older Pokemon game, and I kind of want it, so I don't know. Any final thoughts here? Do we? Better yet, final thought for you. Do we make another video? Let's just say by Friday, talking about Pokemon V Palworld. I'm sorry if we spam the story, but
No, I don't think we're gonna have another one not for a little while because the patent office needs to weigh in on it and everything. So we're gonna have like a continuation when the patent office weighs in on it, yada yada yada. But I mean, who knows? Maybe just food for thought here. We do a breakdown of like the Doki Monsters quest game and like the trailer, and just do like a hey, what makes this different from actual Pokemon?
we got
Like,
43
is
seconds.
this allowed?
Yeah.
You know?
We got 43 seconds to deal with there, but we're going to pass it off to you guys. What do you think about all the developments around this case? What do you think about Doki Monsters? Let us know in the comments down below. But as for this episode of Community Kitchen, I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.